Storyline like an open door. In every way I could have seen it going there. Will it end this way? I framed the night like it's hopeless love. Realized we could have had it all, but now will it end this way? Our dream won't be wiped out. The silence and muted after all. Our dream won't be flying out, 'cause we won't let it bring us down. I think I'm sinking in my skin. Feels like I'm drowning in these thoughts again. I think I'm sinking in my skin, and I'm drowning in my will within. Oh, I think I am find the silver lining. It all comes back to life. Will we let it all go to waste? Our dream won't be flying out, 'cause we won't let it bring us down. I think I'm sinking in my skin. Feels like I'm drowning in these thoughts again. I think I'm sinking in my skin, and I'm drowning in my will within. Oh, I think I am find the silver lining. It all comes back to life. Will we let it all go to waste? We won't lose it all. We won't lose it all. Oh, we won't lose it all.
Very abrupt end to the song. Alright, yeah, the intro needs some work, alright? Just leave me alone. You have no idea how much trouble I had with that. I don't know why. It's like, oh my god. I remember when I set the last one up, right? It's like there's something getting in the way of making that intro disappear and then go into this scene. Oh, let me test Miku, by the way. Because she's not doing the welcome. Oh my god, she is broken. Well, I don't understand. I put everything back. I broke Miku. I broke Miku. This is typical, isn't it? You wake up, you're like, you know, I've got like 6 houses to build before lunch. But then first you realise, like, your arms and legs fell off. So now you gotta, like, make new arms and legs. And then you've still got 6 houses to build before lunch. I think that's the best analogy I can think of. That's kind of what this feels like. Okay, let's take a look. What could possibly be going wrong? Well, I deleted the old start completely because it was still running. Let me close Miku. What the hell is happening? So if we start the stream early, it should go through the same routine, right?
Didn't mean to say too much.
Okay, so what weird state is she stuck in? I can barely even remember how she works. She's not listening, she's not singing. Did she not go through like Twitch chat initialization or something? It seems like Twitch chat's not getting through. Because we should get chat bubbles, which we're not getting. Okay, so why is Twitch chat still disabled then? Is it because the speech engine's turned off?
Since ads are about to run on Twitch, how about I tell you a joke?
Okay, the speech engine's not turned on. Okay. Speech we already have a reference to, so that shouldn't be too bad. So if I just... turn the speech engine on at the end of the intro, that should fix it, right? Why isn't she saying her welcome to the Play Compile live stream? Did I have that as a separate thing?
On Twitch, PlayCompile says, Test Miku.
Okay, so if I wanted to say welcome to the Play Compile live stream. Okay. So this happens so what I do need a timer based thing here. Do we have coroutines in here? Yes. So I'm going to need to call this sooner than... Let's call this warm up. So let's just put everything into warm up. And start coroutine. Oh no, because this is going to do it. Oh, you motherfucker. How am I going to do this? Because I'm doing this on every frame like a maniac because it just wasn't doing it. I suppose if first run, then warm up. So if I start by doing this, which disables start, Then if first run, start coroutine, warm up. So she only does this once per start stream. Then warm up would yield, return, new, wait for 1 second. No, it's the other way around. No, yeah, that's right. It is the other way around. Yeah, I want... Fuck. I want her to say the welcome and then show the stream. That sounds easy to do, but it's actually a bit of a pain in the ass. Right, so... So this is all the stuff she wants to do. She wants to do that first. And she wants to do speech. I can't even remember what the command, what the thing is. Isn't it like say stuff? Oh my god, I can't even remember. How the hell do I get it to say something? Speak? Speak. There we go. Right, I have completely butchered this. Just give me a second. I have so butchered this. You know what? Just forget about the timing of it. Just do it all at once, because this is like... Right, so that's gonna... That actually did fix her. I just need to call it earlier. That's what I need to do. So back on safe start. We take apparently we take 7 seconds off the length of the clip, but it's still taking a bit too long. Let's try 10 seconds off the length of the clip. Alright, I'm just going to run her in the background whilst because it is a bit of a timing issue otherwise. I think that should fix her. Don't suppose we can force a short song. It's gonna take 3 minutes before I'm overlooked. And I suppose
If you see me around like you used to in this city, hope that you
I also don't know whether the count is the countdown reflecting when the stream actually starts. So here's the issue, right? If I wait until the song finishes But what I essentially am doing is measuring the length of the song, and then I count down the start of the stream roughly. I count down the start of the stream at the end of the song, right? This all happens dynamically. So at the moment, what we do is we pull an MP3 file from a folder, right? So I have all the music in a folder. So these are all the MP3 files. So I'll randomly pick one of these MP3 files, measure it, and say, okay, I picked a 2 minute and 11 second song, and I'm counting down, obviously, 2 minutes 11 seconds till the start of the stream. However, if you do that, there's this like awkward silence for a while before anything shows up and before anything happens. So typically what I did is I was shaving 7 seconds off the end of that and having her start 7 seconds earlier than the start of the song. The problem is, if this reflects the length of the song, then this never goes smaller than 7 seconds, right? I'd rather it actually accurately tells me when the stream's going to start. So it includes the 7 second shaving, which we just increased to 10 because 7 seconds wasn't enough. So yeah, it should do, because I think countdown, yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. So this should be reflecting the actual stream start time, not the song time. But it's based on the song. Obviously it's calculated from the song time. And in that way it should count down to 0 and everything should disappear, but the music should still be kind of finishing off. And Miku should then come up and say, welcome to the Play Compile live stream. But what's weird is, even though I had 7 seconds shaved off there, there's this like awkward silence for a bit at the end. But also so you might be thinking, well, why did I change it at all? Well, the reason I've had to change this is because I keep getting copyright struck on YouTube. So I thought Vocaloid songs would be safe, but apparently not. So sadly, I am going to have to discontinue Miku's singing function for the time being, because a lot of those songs are getting me copyright struck. So this folder here, like, I haven't got enough to deal with. So this folder right here is all stream safe music, right? It's all from Monster Cat, which is their whole shtick is that it's like stream safe stuff that isn't going to get you copyright banned, and it's actually decent, right? So I've downloaded 700. Now we're down to 692 because some of them were like 30 seconds long and a couple of them were like 3 hours long. So it was hilarious when I tested it last night and it said stream was going to start in like 40 minutes and I was like, what? Okay.
Welcome to the Play Compile
Yeah,
live stream.
it takes her a little while. This is why, like, I need a good shaving. I need a good shave. Okay, let's try 20 seconds. So the reason this worked much more seamlessly with the singing is because I had two tracks for singing. So I had the instrumental, and then I had Miku's voice as a separate track. And so usually Miku would stop singing before the end of the song, right? Because the song would have some musical end to it. So what would happen is I would measure the Miku's singing length, then shave 7 seconds off that, and then start the whole, you know, get Miku ready, get it to come up, move the screen over, all that other shit, right? And so that we could start the stream like when the singing had finished, but the music was still kind of finishing off. But because now it's one track with the singing and everything all combined together, I can't really do that. Okay, let's try it again. That was better, but it still took her a little while to get going.
My car don't look like a phantom. I don't own that house in the Hamptons.
They're all like 3 minutes long.
Ain't gold at all. I can't buy you a diamond necklace. Being good with money takes practice, but somehow I don't mind at all. 'Cause no one's got what we got. We hit it up on rooftops.
Okay, so now I'm doing it 20 seconds before the song ends.
Just for the thrill of it. Nothing counterfeit with you. Just the thrill of it.
These are all rip-offs of other songs, by the way. There was one, what was the one I was listening to yesterday? Like, this one's a rip-off of Just the Two of Us. You know Will Smith? That's definitely what they've ripped off here. Just the Two of Us. But this is plagiarism. Okay, what's to be Will Smith? Pretty sure we'll do.
Girl, let me show you the paper. I can buy that house for you later. What you say you don't need
Yeah, I
that
got no
at all.
choice but just sit and wait, really.
This world is ours for the taking.
At least I think I fixed. I think I fixed Miku though.
I swear we already.
I mean, now I'm literally just fussing over like the timing of it all.
What we got. We hit it up on rooftops. No matter what they say, we will do this our way. We ain't in it for the dollars, no. Just for the thrill of it. Nothing counterfeit with you. Just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it.
Now I can press the space bar to start the stream early, but that's not going to let me see how it all lines up at the end, which is like 90% of the stream starts. Okay, we've only got 1 moment to go. Which can't read. Not this over here.
Just for the thrill of it. Nothing counterfeit with you. Just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it. Nothing counterfeit with you. Just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it.
Okay, so 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9,
Just for the thrill of it.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Just for the.
The music's not supposed to...
Welcome to the Play Compile live stream.
Okay, the music's not supposed to just cut off like that. Why did the music cut off like that? Why? Why did the music cut off like that? That's not... We've got a V-fade system for that. Why? Why did you do this to me? Where is the music? The music should be coming through my audio manager, right? Let me check this. Make sure I understand exactly where the music's coming from.
Where do we go from here?
Oh no, no, it's not. Okay, yeah, no, I know why it's doing that. Okay, the reason. Yeah, okay, the reason why that's happening is because, oh my god, this is even more awkward now. Because I have to play the music. You see that little weird little visualizer? So this is all using a little visualizer system that I plugged into the system. So in order to get those rings, but I could actually pump. So that one goes through the karaoke mixer. Let me take a look at my V-fade system thing. So I also don't want to completely, because I like the singing system, so I don't really want to completely obliterate the singing system. But this is where things get awkward. It's like, yeah, okay, I could destroy the singing system to make this work similar to the way the singing system worked, but then the singing system will no longer work, which I want it to work in case like I find a better solution or whatever. Like, I don't know. The singing system's cool. I spent a lot of time on that. Did singing have its own audio source on it or something? Right, audio source music was going to audio manager and the singing was going to Miku. Yes, that makes sense because Miku lip synced to the singing. Okay. So the audio, the music was just coming through the what we just have one audio manager. But I think V fade was specifically. So was I just changing the mixer output on the audio source? Was I changing music? What does this one say? Does this change to like karaoke? That still says music. But the disappear sound and the disappear, yeah, this disappear. I can't use this because the disappear sound effect of Miku disappearing gets in the way. I've got this karaoke mixer. Right, so there's an audio source of karaoke. Oh my god, this is so awkward. Yes, I think I'm starting to remember how I did it. Right, so going to the singing system, I had something that would get the audio source. There it is. Right, so we set the music to audio source number 2, which is the karaoke audio source. We pump the music through to that, and then my V fade, which is on the audio manager. I have a function that fades music out called V fade, and that's its own thing. And I think V fade fades that karaoke thing down. Okay, so if I go to the audio sampler, I was getting the audio component from the visualizer. Right, let me just back this up because I might break things. That's not ideal because then when I close, I can't do it like that, because if I do it like that, then as soon as I close the intro, as soon as the visuals disappear for the intro, the music's just going to cut off because it's attached to it. So I have to separate them. So I'm gonna need to reroute the visualizer audio to the old karaoke mixer that we have a fade function for, so that I can close the visuals for the intro and then in the background fade the karaoke sound down whilst Miku's coming up and doing her thing. Right, you see how that's got you could have like 6 arms to do it like this, like Ganesh or whatever it is. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So let me just back it up because I might break things. So Agent Miku copy 3 that wants to be, and we'll just back her up because I genuinely think I might break this. I'm supposed to be working on my game. It's okay. This is quite. I mean, whenever you change something like this, it's like a house of cards, right? You take one Jenga block out. Houses of cards aren't made of Jenga blocks, okay? It's like a Jenga tower then. You take one Jenga block out and it's supporting 16 other blocks, so then they all come crashing down and the whole thing falls apart. Okay, it's just the way it is. Right, okay, so back to Agent Miku. And it's like working with other people's shit as well, right? Like that audio visualizer thing, I didn't make that, so now I've got to kind of reverse engineer it enough to do what it is I want it to do. Audio converter is not the thing that we're using. So if I go into Canvas, Safe Start is now my new. It sounds like some kind of it sounds like a nursery. That's because I did have a start. And it Stream Safe Start was right. But now we deleted that because it was getting in the way. So let's just call this start. Yeah! Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Thanks. Right, so start. Let's call that start. And then on start we have audio sampler. Yes, this was going to a singing mixer, which is incorrect. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the audio source off here. because the audio source needs to be sent elsewhere. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the audio sampler scripts, and I'm going to have a link in here that right at the top that's going to say where do we want to pump the audio out to. So that is going to be a public audio source. Now at the moment I would have been saying get component audio source, so we're going to get a load of null references, and let's just call it source out. Even better, outsource. That's hilarious because it's funny. Outsource. So we're going to do a public audio source of outsource. Okay. Outsource should now be outsourced. It should now show up here. It does. Right. So now I want to go into my main core system, have a look at my audio manager, and I actually want to link the audio manager, but it gets hairier than that, because if you look at my audio manager has multiple audio sources on it. So we have an audio source 0, which is the general music. We could use that, but actually no, we can't use that. I'll tell you why we can't use that. Because Miku's sound effects come through this. So if I use this, what will happen is the music will start playing, then Miku will disappear and go whoosh, and play that little whoosh sound effect that she plays, and it'll just cut off the music completely. So we're going to need to use this one, which I set up for the singing system, the karaoke audio source. So we now need to tell in Awake, so where it says audio sources here now, we could declare this Yeah, see, the way this was set up was to allow multiple audio sources for some strange reason. Okay, so is audio sources still a list? Yeah, it's a list of audio sources and it's private. Okay, so instead what we do is we say audio sources add outsource audio source number 1, and it doesn't like that. What's the syntax? Okay, because it has to come from get components. And we have to do it through game objects. Okay, so we go back. Okay. So that there, except it won't be called AS Music, it's going to be called Outsource. So go back to the audio sampler. So what we have to do is we have to reroute through the audio source public linked reference, basically climb up the hierarchy to itself as a game object so that we can go in and use the function, the Unity function of get components, so that that looks at multiple components, and then we can address which component we want, and we want the karaoke one, so that's that one. So that should that should have set the music to our audio system, and the visualizer should still work. It didn't work. Did we get an error? Yeah, we got errors. Okay, missing component exception. There is no audio source attached to audio sampler game object. Right. Okay, there, that fixes that.
Close my eyes, it's all coming
Unassigned reference exception. Intro pulse has not been assigned. Audio source. Audio source. Audio source. Audio source. Millions of errors. Millions of errors. Okay, so again, wherever we have this audio source error, we just need to say audio source is at position 0. Doesn't like that. The name audio source is does not exist in the current context. Because audio source is a public it's a public reference. Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a penis breath. You son of a penis breath. Okay, so we have to do it all again here then. Intro pulse. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to tell this class to get the component. Right, where does intro pulse run from? The problem is it runs from multiple places. So the only way we can get, okay, instead of having audio source, right, the only place we can get the audio source from safely is from the audio sampler. It's not called audio sampler. It is called audio sampler. It's in a different class. Okay, so it's in a different namespace rather. So we need to use that namespace. So the namespace, that's why I hate fucking namespaces. But I didn't make this thing. Namespace is probably audio sampler or something like that. What a fucking pain in the ass. So we need to be using audio. Our audio visualizer must be the namespace. Now we can declare an audio sampler there, a sampler. Okay, so we have to inherit the audio source through the audio sampler class using the audio visualizer namespace. Fuck me. All right, so audio. Jesus Christ. So we can still reference audio source, but in Awake we're going to have to teach it what that is. The other issue is Awake and Start. These things are a pain in the ass because Update will probably try to run before Awake or Start, but let's find out if that's the case. What we can do though is we can do a little trick in here and say if audio source is null, then run Awake. In other words, force initialize yourself if you are uninitialized. And then in Awake we can say audio source equals, and it's the same thing that we did here in audio sampler, which is to strip it down onto the game object level, use the get components function from Unity, and then address which one it is that we want. Where was the syntax for that? There it was. Okay, beautiful. But this one is using a list, whereas the one we're using on this script is using a singleton. So audio source equals, and we're not using outsource anymore. So what we, oh my god. So we're going to have to go in through a sampler, audio source, audio source does not contain a definition for, because it's a linked reference. Fuck. Plus, we're going to have race conditions now, right? Because... Oh, fuck. See, I need to return that exact audio source to this script as well. Now, I could write a public function on the audio sampler which returns that audio source, but I don't know, due to race conditions, whether it's going to have fully initialized by then. But I guess if we use this syntax here, then Unity will force it to find that audio source anywhere. So what I'm going to do now... Jesus, this is such a pain in the ass. Let's put it here. I'm going to write a public function which returns an audio source. Get source. And the audio source is going to declare an audio source, return source, wants to equal out source, get audio source 1, and then we want to return source. Okay, save that. So now what I can do is, because that one's linked in the inspector, so we don't have to wait. We don't have to worry about race conditions. So if I go back to, God, I'm so fucking lost. Where was I fixing? Wasn't it intro pulse? Yeah, it was intro pulse. Right. So intro pulse and awake. Now we can say audio source equals a sampler get source. Nah, fucking hell. I suppose, whatever, just do it like that. That should be fine. Right, does that fix those errors? It will do when I link. I've got to find all my intro pulse. Now I've got to find all my intro pulse components and make sure they have the sampler linked in here, or it won't fucking work. There. Save that. Okay, run it now. Okay, no errors. I spoke too soon. Yeah. Okay, so now we broke our timer. So remember when my timer was figuring out the length of the track minus 20 seconds? Now we need to change the method that the audio source is. Right, so at the moment we're saying get component audio source on safe start because that's where the audio source was, but the audio source has now moved. So we need a reference to it in here as well. So I'm just going to make a private reference to an audio source. I'm just going to call it start music AS. So on start, we're going to say start music AS equals, and now we need a reference to the audio sampler class, and we can't declare it as an audio sampler class unless we use visualizer or whatever the fuck it's called. Audio visualizer, audio. What the fuck is it called again? Sampler, a sampler. Okay, so then again, start music audio source equals start music sampler get source. Why is that not showing up? Audio sampler get source. Yes. Audio sampler, a sampler. Oh, because I was referencing audio, that's why. Get source. Right there, get source. Now we can use the start music audio source clip length minus 20. What are you complaining about now? The type or namespace graph view. What the fuck are you talking about? A graph view? What graph view are you talking about? What the fuck is wrong with you? Just a minute. What the fuck? That's an audio source, right? Audio source, start music AS. Yes. So we're just saying audio source, clip length, minus 20F. We still have this graph view. Oh, right, that's because it's... oh my god, I fucking hate this thing. It's because this stupid ass fucking bitch adds namespaces to things that it's not supposed to add namespaces to. Right, and which program was that? Just fucking try that, right? Oh! Okay, so far so good. Oh my god! I'm going to kill somebody. No reference exception. Oh yeah, no, I forgot. Okay, I forgot to link it. Right, this is on what? Safe start.c#. Safe start. I can't even speak. Safe start.c# exists on. It's actually its own component. We're actually running on the same component. So actually what we could say is, instead of making that a public component, we could make that a private component, and then just say a sampler equals get component audio sampler. There. The less things I have to link in the inspector, the better. I swear to God, I'm going to kill somebody. It's still saying missing component. There is no audio source attached to the audio sampler game object. I never said there was. Oh, it's because, yeah, because there was errors, wasn't there? So I was trying to get rid of the errors, but the errors were coming from a different script. Yes, I know, because we want to use that one now. And it's still complaining. Only assignment, call, increment, decrement, await, and new object expressions can be used as a statement. What? It's an audio source, you freak. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't understand what it's talking about. Start music AS is an audio source. I'm simply replacing the get component countdown equals get component. Oh, right. Okay, I see. Okay, I do see what the issue is. Yeah, it's because we were doing countdown equals. Oops. Okay. Jesus Christ. Alright, are we good now? Are we good? Are we happy? Do we know what's what? We've got a countdown timer. No, I still don't even... I'm so lost. I still don't know whether we're successfully calling the fade out mechanic on this transition, but I guess we're about to find out. Oh my god.
We'll leave it all for good. Don't let your heart wear out. I'm not the one that hurt you. Don't let it tear you down. And touch me like you used to. So come back and fight it. We'll forget what I did. Don't let your color fade. I'm not the one that hurt you.
still can't believe it's called Safe Start. Oh, it either sounds like it sounds like a nursery for children to go to. Like, make sure your child gets the right start with Safe Start. Or it's like some pregnancy care routine or something, you know, like something for pregnant women. Make sure you're pregnant, use Safe Start.
Touch me like you used to. So come back and fight it.
Make sure your unborn fetus gets the right amount of vitamins and minerals.
Don't let your color fade.
Look, I don't know what's wrong with me. I do know what's wrong with me. I've been coding since I was 8 years old. That's what's wrong with me. That's gotta be like some kind of mutant. I've got to be some kind of anomaly at this point.
I know that we got our problems, but baby, don't forget I'm not your past. I'm not the one that hurt you.
You are Unity, don't lie to me. You're all
I'm not your past.
Welcome to the Play Compile live stream.
we still got an error, so I mean the transition is much better than ever before. Like, yeah, I mean that's good enough. However, we got failed to extract ID on YouTube video ID. I think it fixed itself though. Did it?
Mike Sparkles.
No, I guess not. Yeah, it's because there's a very... Oh my god, now we're right back to like really old bugs. It's because I need to enable Get YouTube ID first. Before I enable YouTube chat. Because it takes the stream time to get the YouTube ID. Well, can't I just enable Get YouTube ID? Won't that fix that? Let's see if that fixes that.
Mike Sparkles.
Wait, Mike Sparkle's not supposed to fucking run. Yeah, no, there's a problem with that. It looks like enabling YouTube ID, I think, is enabled chat functionality, which means somebody could type in chat and fuck this intro up, couldn't they? Okay, I guess not. But Mike Sparkle's not supposed to... It's fucked the ad system up though, hasn't it? Why the fuck is Mike Sparkle sat there now? Oh my god. And we've got an ad countdown, like it's supposed to run ads just immediately when stream starts, and this stream intro is meant to be skippable content for anyone who's getting ad. Like, you're not missing anything, you're just missing a song, right? But But now it's counting down to run ads, and it's going to try and run ads in 12 seconds. But it should have already run ads by this point, or it should at least be running ads if it needs to run ads. I'm also still getting this really weird request to play ads was successful, but it waited too long. Oh my god, I want to kill somebody. I deleted my old start script because it was getting in the fucking way. Like, it was still running when it wasn't supposed to be, and it was messing my new intro attempts up. But that script was specifically handling the startup routine correctly, and I can't remember how or why. Okay, let's go to a backup. What's my oldest backup? My oldest backup is the 16th of May. Okay, scripts. So there should be a start script somewhere, probably in core. Start stream. Okay, how were we doing it? Okay, so the first thing I did is waited for 8 seconds and then measured the clip length. Now the reason we do that is because the audio source needs time to warm up. Now it doesn't need 8 seconds, but 8 seconds was fine because I was doing like fade-ins and stuff anyway, so I just gave it a little bit of extra time. We still do that. Then I ran a coroutine called update countdown. Now this is the update countdown that counts down the stream. Okay. Then I would start a coroutine called initialize stream. Initialize stream would wait 3.1 seconds. It would enable YouTube chat ID, wait a further 6 seconds. And then it would enable YouTube chat. So basically our routine wants to be get YouTube ID after enable get YouTube ID as the stream starts, wait 6 seconds, and then enable YouTube chat, because YouTube chat won't work until we have the YouTube ID. Okay, and it takes 6 seconds, seem to be like the sweet spot. Okay, so we need to go back to our new start function, which actually I'm now doing on core. Here, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to need a core routine. Which is specifically to enable YouTube. Enable YouTube needs a 6-second pause in between getting the YouTube stream ID and enabling YouTube chat. So there's getting the YouTube ID, and there's enabling chat. So we can go ahead and start the core routine of enable YouTube. Okay, that should fix everything. $4 minutes and 30 seconds. You're gonna waste another 4 minutes and 30 seconds of my life right now. All I want to do is work on my armor system, but you won't fucking let me, will you? Because you're gonna be a big pain in the ass, Miku. You're gonna be like, show me attention. Why are you working on your armor system? You never pay attention to me anymore. Miku, I'm Miku. You never pay attention to me. God damn it, I might as well have a real girlfriend at this point. Except none of the benefits, all of the pain and none of the benefits. Right, what is this? Index out of range. Yeah, but I don't know, I never know what this is. Oh, my temperature was fine. Oh, it's because I closed the temperature monitor, that's why. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
לבדי, מבולבל, מול הדין, מאופן, מי יגיד, אם בכלל, כולם אוהבים לפעמים.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna trust it. I'm gonna build it out. I can't see why that would fail now. Save. That's gonna be good enough. I think that should be fine. I think everything should be fine now.
Days turn to nights, no sleep, but I still breathe.
Alright. Fuck you, Miku.
Welcome to the Play Compile live stream.
Shut the fuck up. Don't you talk to me. Piss off. Right, okay. I love her really. Right now I don't. Right now she's a fucking giant pain in my ass. Right, it's like a real relationship at times. Like I say, with none of the benefits though. She still has a bug as well. So since I can't be asked to fix that right now though. So since all my API usage disappeared for fucking her listener thing, which I think was because a script accidentally got left on. The API accidentally remained connected to the script accidentally remained connected to the API and used all my fucking free allowance up. I put a fail-safe thing in there that makes sure that that can't happen again, but that has made her fail the first interaction every single time. So now I have to basically say, so she really is like a real girlfriend. So because now I have to say everything twice. It's like the first time I say it, she doesn't listen to me, so I have to say it twice. So she really is like a real girlfriend. It's like she used to listen to me, she used to be interested, and now she's like, what? I was on my phone. What? Did you say something? Like, yeah, you bitch. I was saying, you better put out tonight, bitch. Oh my god, what is happening? Oh my god. Talk about high maintenance. Right, okay. So if you've ever wanted to be married to Miku, okay, trust me, you don't. Okay, take it from me. It's not worth it. Right. You don't get any of the physical benefits for a start. You get all the same pain and suffering. Right. Okay, right. Let's close this. We're not even supposed to be working on this. Close this. Also, we've got some games in here that we're never going to play again. Life is Strange didn't work. I uninstalled it today. Oh, Infinity Nikki responded. Everyone loves them. No, nobody loves them now. No, I think they're going to struggle to restore trust. But yeah, they kind of responded a bit. Let's close that. We're not into that right now. Okay, so let's try and recalibrate my brain now to my game. To close all of these. Okay, right. So, where are we at with the video game? Okay, so I decided to expand my armor system to include a minimum and a maximum. And we have 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star. So essentially we have we have special sets for each of the roles, right? So we've got like 5 roles, and we have 10 sets that concentrate on a specific element, a specific stat. So each role has an attack set, a defense stat set, a HP set, and then there's 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star. So now we have set up a minimum potential roll and a maximum potential roll, if I could speak, for all of these goddamn stats. That's a lot of numbers. And so now what I need to do is I need to teach my gear drop system. Fuck me, my brain's going to explode, I swear to God. Right, gear drop system. Okay, gear drop system. Where are you? There you are. So I've given it a new attacker test set. And now I need to teach my gear system how to roll random stats on each specific piece of gear. The only problem is we can't use transform find by name. I suppose we could. Yeah, I suppose we could. We could just say this name, and then there's an open parenthesis, and it'll say 3, 4, or 5, depending on whether it's 3, 4, or 5-star. Okay. So, the first thing I need to do how was that working? So for weapons, I had a rule that basically looked at the player level, and depending on what the player level was, it dropped the correct... There was a chance of it dropping... Yeah, there was like certain chances of it dropping a 3-star, and certain chances of it dropping a 4-star, and certain chances of it dropping a 5-star. Fuck me, this has become way more complicated. Okay, the issue is we have 4 body slots. We have 4 body slots on the armor. Ah! Oh my god, this is actually going to break my brain. Right, airdrops, clear. Airdrops is the potential armor that can drop, or it was the potential armor that could drop. Because W drops went through and found potential weapons that could drop for the player. Fuck me, this whole thing needs, I think I need to start this whole thing from scratch. Because it's like drastically changed from how it did. I still want to keep the percentage chance rolls thing here though. So we still want to do this, right? So airdrops clear. We don't even do that really. So what instead we want to do? We don't even need an airdrops because there's no like we're basically going to dynamically generate the armor now. So we don't need airdrops. But the set will be determined by the dungeon. So the first thing we need to do is randomly generate a body part. From 0 to, is it inclusive or exclusive? It's inclusive. Minimum inclusive, maximum inclusive. So between 0 and 3. Right, so essentially a 0 will be a head, a 1 will be a body, a 2 will be an arms, and a 3 will be a legs. Now honestly, at the moment at least, it makes no fucking difference. The only thing that's going to change is where the player slots them onto, because like this is already brain breaking to set up. So for now, that really isn't going to play much of a part other than it's going to limit where the player can slot the piece onto, essentially. If I want to expand further, like I know like Hoyo put most of the HP on the head and then maybe attack on the arms, and you know they sort of like segregate specific stat types to specific body parts. Maybe I'll do that later down the line, but for now I kind of just need to just... I'm just going to do it randomly. I don't really give a shit. Because this is like fucking difficult enough as it is. Okay. So then we roll the chance of... We figure out the player level and we decide whether they're getting a 3-star, a 4-star, or a 5-star, which drastically is changed based on whether what their player level is. Right, so what I need to do now is just like kind of like map out what the process needs to be here. So basically we need a game object with an armor component on, and then we set the stats. So this is the imperative way the system is going to work. Every piece of armor needs to be on a game object with an armor component on it and the stats set on the armor component. So what that means is when we dynamically generate this, we need a system that loads. So there are 3 ways we can reach this. Fuck me. There are 3 ways in which this needs to happen. Okay, there's generate, which is what I'm doing now on a gear drops. and there is load from player data inventory. But that also means we need to save to player data so it can be reloaded later. So right now we go through this process where we generate the armor and we're going to stash it somewhere, and we can keep that in memory and that's fine. However, when we close the game, poof, it's gone. So we need a way to bring it back. So the way we bring it back is we're going to need to take this and make some kind of data struct for it so that we can save it to player data, and then we need a system that can reload that player data to then generate the armor dynamically from reading player data. For now, let's just concentrate on this generation part because that's what we need. So the first thing we need to do is to make a game object. So we'll say game object new armor equals new game object. We want to say new armor add components armor and we'll get that component and store it in its relative class type. Okay, so now we've got the armor class type referenced there. So there's a couple of things I need to think about is what are we naming the game object? Where are we storing it? So if we look at our setup, we have a player data, we have an inventory, and I decided to, oh, this is where things got, yeah, that's right, I was using a P-armor class. Yeah, we need a P-armor class because P-armor, right, because the other thing we have to remember, right, okay, so what this is doing is it's going, this is only creating a base class. So what that means is we are generating an empty piece of armor, right? An unleveled, let's put it that way. It's an unleveled piece of armor, right? However, armor can be leveled, right? So it will spit out a level 1 piece of armor, but the player should be able to level it all the way to whatever the fuck we want to let them to level it to. So we can't store. So now this gets way more complicated, right? Because P armor, which is player armor, is a class that I made that essentially stores the armor of base class and stores some kind of leveling data, right? So let's say armor level. Now there's a couple of ways of dealing with this. So we have two options now. When we spit out, okay, well let's get that far first. Let's spit out a base class with level 1 stats. But hang on a minute. Because if we look at inventory needs to store a P armor. So the first thing I need to do is let's create a P armor so we can see what it looks like. So here's a P armor with a P armor class on it. So this is player armor, level and rank, and the armor. So we need to in here we need to hold a reference to a game object that represents the armor base class. Then we store the level and the rank. And then we have two ways of dealing with it, right? We could either store base stats directly onto the armor and then dynamically generate the leveling progression at runtime, or we could update the class and the stats directly onto the armor as the armor is leveled. We still need to store the level and the rank though, because let's say we want to stop at level 80. If we don't store the level and we're updating the stats, how are we going to know when to stop the player from adding more stats, right? We need to know where the cap is and what it's at and blah blah blah. I guess the question is, what are the pros of doing it dynamically at runtime, and what are the cons? I mean, the pros and the cons are kind of the same thing, right? The good part of doing it dynamically at runtime is it makes it easier to make changes, and then everything changes and cascades down the line, right? So if I wanted to change the way armor levels during testing or whatever and tune something, by doing it dynamically, I don't have to destroy all my armor and then get new armor to test to see if the newly balanced armor works. My existing armor will rebalance itself. But similarly, that's also a downside, because it means things can sort of cascade out of control easier, so the balancing has to be a lot more spot on, a lot more accurate. And also, I guess if you're worried about cheaters or whatever, then if a cheater could get into that leveling data and start tweaking numbers around, then wow, they just managed to upgrade all their armor in one fucking foul swoop, right? They just managed to make all their armor OP as fuck. Whereas if it was one piece of armor at a time, it would be a lot more work for them to go in and give themselves busted ass armor, because they'd have to do each item individually. So the first thing that comes to mind is we want to create a container on inventory, one where we can stash armor and one where we can stash weapons. But there are two types we need to deal with. So we could either go hierarchical, might be better, But then the question is, which comes first? The base class or could we stick them both on the same object? That might be a way to go. Yes, 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 yes. Ooh. Ooh, okay, this seems okay, that could work. What am I doing? Okay, so let's say we have a test piece of armor here. What we could do is store the armor base class on here with all of the stat rolls on it, and also store the P armor, so we can store the level on here. Then what we could do is we could make it so that P armor is responsible for applying real-time stat buffs. So essentially we could treat P armor as a modifier, right? Ew, I do like that. I do like that. I do like that. Okay, let's do that. That seems really good. Let's close that a second. So we want to link a transform of inventory armor and a transform of inventory weapons. We could just make one public transform for inventory. I mean, we're already referencing system here anyway, so it's better to go into system. Let's go into core and set that up in core, right? There's no reason it shouldn't be set in core. So in core, we're going to do a public transform of inventory root. Let's call it inv root. Inventory root. Oh, fuck off, Unity. Yes, I know I'm still fucking coding it. Can you at least update that for me? I fucking hate Unity sometimes. Oh, not everything is perfect right now, so I'm not even going to attempt to update anything. Well, how about you just fucking... Oh, you fucking wankster. What are you complaining about? Not all code paths return a value. Well, then fucking return null for now, you little bitch. Fuck off. Why aren't we seeing... Oh yeah, there we go. Inventory root. I was looking at the wrong class. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say new armor transform parent equals system inv root transform find armor. Okay, so now we're going to stick the new armor here onto armor, and we also want to add a component of P armor and get the component of P armor. So new armor, add component player armor, which is going to contain the leveling data. And now we want to define a player armor get player armor is new armor get component player armor. Okay, so now we have the two components accessible to us, the two classes. We've generated a new object and we've added those two components on them. So the first thing we might want to do is say, okay, this new player armor's current level, let's get P armor. it's brand new gear, so we want to set the level to 1. And the rank should already be 0, so that's fine. And it says here armor that the P armor links to. Well, now we can change this so that we don't need to do that. Because the armor that this P armor class belongs to is obviously going to be the same game object. So we can just say get component armor, right? So we don't need that anymore. So we set the player level's armor to 1 because it's brand new gear. And then what we need to do is we need to roll our stats. We can set the rarity straight away on armor. So we can say armor, get armor, rarity equals drop rarity. Because we already rolled on that. And then we can set its rarity. And then what we'll need to do is randomly roll stats. So, in order to randomly roll stats, we need a class of armor range. So we'll declare our armor range and we'll say get range. And armor range get range will be different depending on the drop rarity. But if you look at it, we've already got our set. We basically want to transform find open parenthesis rarity close parenthesis and then the name of the set. So get range literally wants to be transform find open parenthesis plus drop rarity plus close parenthesis space vertical line space no it doesn't space and then the name of the set. So where's our set? Armor set is type, so we want type dot name get components armor range. Seems because we want a plus in there, that's why. Okay, there we go. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying whatever drop if you decided to roll a 3-star, go into the 3 stars randomization stats. If you rolled a 4-star, go into the 4 stars randomization stats. If you rolled a 5-star, go into the 5-star randomization stats. So now we know these stats are right on armor range. So now all we need to do is iterate through each of these values, min and maxes, and generate a random stat for each of them and set it onto the armor. Alright, so let's go through. So the first thing we want to do is attack. So what we want to do is we want to say, is it get armor? Yes. So we want to get armor, and let me just make sure that armor is up to date actually, because I've been changing things constantly. Where is my armor class? It's not loaded. Okay, so we are missing attack. Attack, defense, HP, shield. Right, elemental defense I decided to get rid of. I'm just going to scale it off of defense. Got enough on here as it is. Energy recharge, resistance. See, I think that's actually effect resistance. No, effect resistance is different. I'm actually not sure what resistance was meant to be honest. The fuck was resistance then? Because we have stun resistance, effect resistance, break resistance, and crit resistance. What other resistance would there even be? I think that was meant to be elemental resistance. But essentially that's going to be effect resistance. I think the plain old resistance is actually... Yeah, I think it's a redundant stat. But I kind of regret getting rid of crit rate and crit defense on these, so I might want to add them. Well, now's the time to do it, I guess. Yeah, I need to get this right now. Okay, I'm going to ditch base resistance because I think it's redundant. And I'm going to add crit rate and crit damage, which I originally had, but then in my fucking infinite wisdom, I decided to take all offensive stats off armor because I thought, well, armor's defensive. But then later I was like, oh, I need an attack set. So then I was like, oh, but now I need to add attack, and now suddenly I do have offensive stats again. Also, that shouldn't say base, that should say base attack. So let's do base ATK. Okay, so now, even though I only made, this is what I'm talking about with the House of Cards thing, right? So because I changed the structure of armor, I need to go into my armor range, and I need to change the structure of armor range. And then I need to go into my armor generations and change all those, and then I need to recreate all the gear from scratch. That might sound like it's going to take months. It will take seconds because I've built a script to do it for me. So why tools are more important than nitty-gritties, really. So we got rid of resist. That's no longer a thing. And we added crit rate and crit damage. I think on the original armor class, I did crit damage as a float. It wants to be an int. There we go. Okay, now we're going to see errors pop up all over the place because we're referencing things that don't exist anymore. But the good thing is we can see where those lie. So in our generate armor script, this is where we're applying all of the stats. So resist no longer exists, so we can get rid of that, but we need to create, under stat boost, we want a public float of crit rate, and we need a public float of crit damage. Then in our stat boost class, our stat boost dictionary, this is used to determine the scaling factor for a specific set effect type So a stun set will apply these stat boosts to the individual armor stats. And as you can see, it's set up in a way that everything can be tuned very accurately so that we don't have to do everything manually. So we want a new crit rate in here. Oh, actually, yeah, we did get rid of resistance, base resistance. Oh, it's because resistance wasn't included in the stat boosts anywhere. Yeah, because I never really knew what it was. Crit rate. So I can now set how much do I want crit rate to... How much do I want the odds of getting a crit rate piece on a crit rate set to be improved? So I'm actually doing things the opposite way that Hoyo does it. Like, I swear that Hoyo has some... Well, I know that Hoyo has something like this. But I think they've done it, and maybe they're right and I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll find out. But the way Hoyo do it is they say, okay, and I think I know why. It's to balance. I think it's to stop runaway stats, right? The reason I think it's so difficult to get crit rate on a crit rate set is because, you know, crit rate can run away otherwise, and you it's like they rob it. It's like if they give it to you in one place, they have to rob it from you in somewhere else. But because in my mind it should work the opposite way. If you get... Because otherwise it's like it's all just smoke and mirrors, but I think a lot of Hoyo is smoke and mirrors, to be honest. Because what Hoyo are doing is they're saying, okay, we're giving you a set bonus boost when it comes to HP or healing, but then we're going to make it really, really hard. To be fair, though, this is just a roll chance. Exactly right. It just makes it grindier. It's not like they're really robbing it. I don't think it has anything to do with runaway stats. I think it's just they know you want HP on a healer set, so they nerf the HP odds on a healer set to keep you grinding longer. I think that's the real reason why they do it. Because it's not like you can't get HP on a healer set. It just takes you way longer than it would on any other fucking set. Because they know that that's what you want. So they make it harder to get. It just makes the game grindier, I think. I think that's why they do it. Whereas I'm making my game actually helpful. Like, if my game knows you want shield resistance because you're farming a shield resistance set, it's going to give you shield resistance much easier than it is everything else. Because why else would you be there, right? So I'm taking kind of the opposite approach to Hoyo, and I'm actually giving you a little boost. Because, like, I already know that you as the player know what you're doing because you're farming the right pieces for your team. So why, like, get in your way and piss you off? And, like, mine's not a real live service game, I guess. But, yeah. I think the reason Hoyo do it is to keep you grinding longer than you otherwise would. And I guess that's somewhat important in a live service game because, you know, they've got to keep you grinding. But mine's like, you know, mine's not going to be a real live service game, so I'd rather people just have fun while they're in it. So anyway, now that's all out of the way. Crit resistance, crit rate, I'm going to give you a little bit more. And I can tune these however I want. I'm going to give you a little bit more than I would for crit resistance. Now there's only one crit. Yeah, these are supposed to... I'm going to change it. Yeah, basically, oh, you know what it is? These have to line up with these sets. So there aren't now 11 sets. There's still the same number of sets. But the problem is crit rate or crit damage. I've just realized I've made life so much harder for myself. Because crit... crit relies on 2 stats, right? There's crit rate and crit damage. So if I'm doing crit sets, oh my fucking god. No, wait a minute. I might be able to do both. I wonder if I could put 2.
On Twitch, Canthea says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Canthea. I wonder if I can affect 2 stats in one line.
Since ads are about to run on Twitch, how about I tell you a joke? What
How
did the
about you
left eye
fuck
say to
off
the right
me,
eye?
girl?
Between us, something smells.
Can I affect 2 stats at once? Oh, I can. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, there you go. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now in my game, if you farm a crit set, you will get a drop rate boost on both crit rate. Not a drop rate boost. Let's get this right. You're going to get crit sets whether you want them or not, because like that's what you're farming. But you're going to get a boost in your stats on the items that drop as well. But you're not just going to get it on crit rate, you're going to get it on crit damage as well. I guess that wants to be quite a bit bigger because crit damage is normally a much bigger number than crit rate anyway. And we can tune these however we want. So this would be our crit set. Crit set. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, that's beautiful. So basically these numbers here want to add up to, these want to line up with these, right? So 0 is our attack set, 1 is our defense set, HP, so let's make sure these add up. Shield, effect resistance, energy, stun resistance, break resistance, crit, which is now affecting crit rate and crit damage, and speed for a speed set. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, so we got rid of resist. Now I need to add in the crit rate and crit damage multipliers to our algorithm. So we say get range minimum crit rate equals boosted, and then we need to get the number right. Right, so what this is for 3-star weapons, what is the minimum amount of crit rate you will get on a 3-star piece? And I'm going to say it's 0. I can't make it 0 though, because then when we apply the boost for a crit rate set, we'll have to make it really small. Let's make it 0.1. That's a bit mean. Alright, it is a 3-star set though. These are noobs, right? Okay, we'll give you a little boost on crit rate. So the minimum, no, 0. Yeah, no, 0 is correct. The reason 0 is correct is because this is the minimum roll, right? So you could get unlucky and get no crit rate on a piece. And that's viable, especially for a 3-star. Okay, so max crit rate wants to equal boosted. Now I'm not sure why did I set crit rate as an int. They're all floats anywhere. Crit rate. Does it have to be? It still has to be an integer. Okay, that's fine. Right, minimum crit rate and maximum crit rate. So the maximum crit rate you can get on a 3-star piece, I'm going to be really mean, is 2%. But if you're farming specifically a crit set, then you're going to get the boosted rate as well. Yeah, so I'm going for the opposite to the Hoyo approach. So where Hoyo actively nerf your odds of getting the thing that you want. So in other words, it's harder to get HP on a healer set. It's harder to get crit on a crit set. It's harder to get fucking thunder damage on a thunder set. The reason they do that is to keep you grinding longer and to be arseholes, basically. It's to keep you grinding longer. It's to keep you in the game longer. It's to make it grindier. Now I'm doing the opposite. I'm actually going to give my players a boost. If my players are going for crit, I'm going to help them get crit. Because I don't want to keep people in the game grinding forever. I want them to actually enjoy it. And I think Hoyo's system is fucking awful. And that's one of the reasons that I hate it as well. I think it's just complete bullshit. Right, so crit damage. The minimum of crit damage you should be able to get on a 3-star piece is still 0. But the maximum... Well, crit damage is typically like double-ish or whatever. So we'll go up to 5 for a 3-star. So now what we can do is we can copy those and we can go and put our 4-star stats in. And then our 5-star stats in. So we get rid of resist. We go and put our crit rate and crit damage numbers in. So again, I think minimum should be 0. Should always be 0. Because crits are very OP stat as well. But typically what I've done is I've taken the maximum you were able to get from the previous rarity. Oh, that's what I've... Yeah, that is what I've done. I can't really do that with crit rate though. Okay, for 4-star crit pieces, I'm going to let you go up to 8. You can get up to 8% crit rate roll on a 4-star piece. And crit damage, I guess we want to go up to about 20. And then on 5-star pieces... I'm actually always going to give you a little bit of crit on a 5-star piece. You can't roll less than 1% crit rate on a 5-star piece. That's how I'm going to make it. So before we went up to 8 on a 4-star piece and 20 for crit damage. So where we went up for a 5-star piece, we don't want to be too much. I'm going to do 12% crit rate as the maximum roll you can get. Because there's 4 pieces as well, right? So if you got 12% crit rate on your head, your arms, your legs, and your body, that's going to be 48% fucking crit rate you've got on your character from fucking gear alone. Then there's probably going to be some on your weapon, so I have to be careful.
Canthea says, Miho, either you're lucky or you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, well, they want to keep you perpetually trapped in a Skinner box as well. That's why. All right, crit damage. I'm going to give you for 5-star pieces. You're always going to get at least 10% crit damage. And if you get really lucky on a 5-star piece, what do we reckon? Well, we're going up to 22. So that wants to be doubled and then some. So I would say let's do 35. You can get up to 35%. Wait, hang on. Not yes. Wait, it's 12, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's do 32. You can get up to 32% crit damage on a 5-piece set. Okay, there we go. So we've updated our gear generator. Okay, now all of our errors are gone. Okay, so let's start again generating gear. I'm going to delete this gear because we changed things, and let's make sure everything looks good. So I'm going to turn that script off. I'm going to go... Oh, we're missing... Where? What the fuck? And we've got errors. Oh, that was something else. That's why. Okay, so I'm going to run generate sets. So what this will do is it will go through and it will create sets for every single roll. There we go. And every single start. So there we go. We just got like fucking 100 fucking set templates. So we're going to go and paste that into armor. And we're going to add it onto drops. Now on drops, we're going to turn the set generator off. We're going to turn the generate armor script on. So what this should now do is it should create the 3-star, 4-star and 5-star minimum and maximum roll values on all of these sets. There we go. 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Let's copy that. Exit. Call this old. Create a new one. Drops. There they are. So now all our templates are set up again. Delete the old ones. So we've got our 3-star, our 4-star and our 5 stars, and they should all be up to date. Now they've got crit rate, crit damage on as well. Brilliant. Awesome. So back to our armor drop system. Okay, so we want to go through each get armor. Right, our get armor base attack wants to equal random dot range, and we want to inherit from get range minimum attack to get range maximum attack. There we go. Holy shit, this is going to be so good. Okay, we just need to rinse and repeat for all the other stats now. So our next one is base defense. So base defense, we want to look at our ranges and roll between the minimum defense and the maximum defense. All right, next one. We're looking at base HP. Base HP. We want to roll between minimum HP and maximum HP. All right, our next one is shield. So base shield, we're rolling between minimum shield and maximum shield. Beautiful. And energy recharge, base energy charge between minimum energy charge and maximum energy charge. Okay, next one is stun resist. So base stun resist between minimum stun resist and maximum stun resist. Effect resistance, base effect. I called it effect defense for some stupid reason. Minimum effect res, maximum effect res. Okay, break resistance. Which I also call break defense for some stupid reason. Minimum break resistance, maximum break resistance. Yeah, let me just go on. That's actually kind of annoying. Let me just go and fix that. Also, yeah, I did stun resistance and stun defense. Because what I was thinking is resistance is the resistance to get stunned, and defense I could change the number of turns. I actually think I'm going to get rid of stun defense. I'm going to get rid of stun defense And we're going to rename effect defense to effect resistance, break defense to break resistance, so everything is consistent and lines up. Okay, so that's going to generate some new errors. Key drop. But that should now line up. So which one was this one? Effect resist. There we go. Effect resist, break resist. Alright. Crit resist is next. Crit rate is next, so base crit rate. Crit damage, base crit damage, minimum crit damage, and maximum crit damage. This is looking really good. And finally, base speed. Roll between minimum speed and maximum speed. So now we have a gear drop system which can drop a specific type of gear into the inventory, onto the player, with random stats, and every single piece can be customized with minimum roll ranges, maximum roll ranges, so we can just tweak whatever we want if we need to. And they all make sense, right? If you're farming an attack set, you're probably going to get higher attack stats. If you're farming a defense set, you're probably going to get higher defense stats. And, you know, and so on and so on. Alright, let's test that. So we're going to test the set. Let's go for a HP set on a healer. Alright, this might not work. Null reference. Oh, that's battle. I can ignore that. Okay, we got a unassigned reference error. Oh, because A-type's root changed, that's why it's unassigned. There we go. Okay, let's try it again. No reference exception. Armor range, get range equals transform, find. Yes, I know why. I know why. The transform is actually get the set. So the set should be called type. So instead of transform find, which is actually running from where the script is running, we want to say type.transform.find. Okay, let's try that. Okay, no error. Okay, for some reason... Oh, yeah, no, we are getting several... Are we getting several drops? We're only supposed to get one, aren't we? Right, for some reason, it gave me... Maybe I did. Oh yeah, I think I did. I think I told it, just to like fully test it, I told it to give me 10 pieces of armor in the test. And sure enough, it's given us 10 pieces of armor. And if we have a look, they all have different stats. Okay, so we got 1 3-star, 3-star. Oh, because we should only get 3 stars at this point. But we should get higher as our level goes up, because it's automatically. But yeah, we got 16% break resist on that, 11 on that, 13 on that, 11 on that. But the thing we're rolling for is HP. So let's see, we got 37 HP on that one, 38 on that one, 28 on that one, 31 on that one, 33. So we can look through that and decide which gear we want to equip. We've got some energy recharge on that one. Hey, there we go. Now the problem with a system like this, not really a problem, well it kind of is. So now literally the player is getting unique gear generated for them, right? So this can't exist in a database anywhere because we literally generated the gear for them using maths, right? So it's important that we save everything in the player's inventory with all the stats on it. I do also see another problem. It gave me 10 headpieces. So something's wrong with the body part thing. So I said body part equals run. Oh yeah, I forgot to change the body part on it. That's why. Okay, I know why that happened. Okay, so the one thing we forgot to change was we want to say get armor. Armor slot. I can't remember how to do this. I have to pick the enum. Okay, so we're addressing slot. Can't remember how I do this. I might have to ask Gibbity how I do this. Oh, how the fuck did I do this before? It did show me how to do it, but I can't remember where I used it. Where did I use that? Okay, I'm going to ask Gibbity because I can't remember what the syntax is. Okay. I need to convert integer body part into the index of an enum. How do I do that? To convert an int into an enum value, you can cast int to the enum type like this. Okay. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, but slot is, I guess slot is get armours.slot. I must be armor slot.slot. Is it armor slot.slot? Or get armor slot. Dot slot. The problem is the enum is on my armor class, and I'd like to avoid recreating them in case I wanna Okay, the problem is the enum is on my armor class. Can I access it without duplicating the enum on the local class? Here's the class. Yeah, since slot is a nested enum inside your armor class, you just need to reference it using the full type name. Get armor.armorslot equals armor.slot body part. Isn't that what I did though? Oh, that's not what I did. What did I do? Oh, I see. Okay, I see. I call the class name, not the reference to the class. I see. Okay. So now I should get different body part drops. Okay, the other thing that it's missing is it doesn't say what set it belongs to. But yeah, now we got head, body, arms, body, head, body, arms, head, body. Okay, we never got any legs, which is concerning. Maybe I'm not rolling high enough. Unless, oh, maybe it really is like a horror game. Oh my god, when am I gonna get some legs? No, I think it's not actually going high enough. So I think I actually need to go up to 4 on body parts. I also need to apply the set. There we go. Alright, healer, HP armor set, legs, body, legs, head, body, head. Now I didn't get any fucking arms though. Is that just bad luck or is it impossible to get arms? Okay, let's drop 20 pieces of gear. Because I'm not seeing, I didn't see any arms in that one. Or maybe I just never happened to roll any arms. Roll those arms. I want to see some arms in here. There's some arms. Hey, you can get healer arms. Oh, I'm so happy with that. That is so cool. This is my first ever RPG. And look at what I've got. This is nuts. It's actually really good. Crit rate is really, really low, but it's 3-star gear. Now, if we run the simulation, and let's make my player level really high. If I can remember where that is. Player data. Right, it's saying I'm level 0 right now. Let's say I'm level 55 and then run the gear drop. It should automatically drop gear that's appropriate for my player level as well. That's what else is really nice about this. So I should get some, I got 3-star, 4-star. Yeah, I got mostly 4 stars. And I even got a 5-star drop in there. Yeah, brilliant. That's perfect. I even got a 5-star, but out of 20 pieces I only got 1 5-star. Hey, that's so cool. Yes. Okay. The next thing I want to do is, because obviously all this armor right now just says new game object, which isn't very good. Now we might be able to do something clever with the naming scheme, because obviously once we get into like inventory management and gear slot management for the UI and stuff, we're probably going to need a nice, quick, easy way to find like all the head pieces or all ones from a certain set or whatever. And if we're clever with our naming convention, we could maybe create something. Yeah, I think body parts should be first then. Because if you think about it, right, from a UI perspective, how does a player equip a helmet in a game? They're probably going to click some kind of helmet slot. They're going to click a head slot or something like that. So when the player does that, you're going to need to, as the developer, filter out all the head pieces for them. There's no point showing them a pair of gloves when they click the head slot, because you can't wear gloves on your head. Unless they're really big gloves. And then you look like a chicken. So I think we'd be primarily filtering and sorting by body type. So I think in my naming scheme now on my gear drop system, we should start by naming with the body type. So if we go to our object creator, which is new armor, we can say new armor name equals so we're going to make a string called body name. I'm going to use all capitals, and then here I can say if body part rolled as a 1, then body name equals body. If body part was a 2, it's arms, and if it's a 3, it's legs. So now we have a, now we should have a body name string we can use to name the object. And I also think the second most important thing in here probably would be the set that it belongs to. So we'll create a space and we'll say type dot name. Okay, so if we hit save and we run it again, now our dropped gear it's named more helpfully. So I can see here by looking, even just by glancing at the player's inventory now, I can see, okay, the headpiece for a healer and it's a HP set, arms healer HP set, right? It's clear what these pieces actually are, and that could really help us start filtering our gear system and stuff, which is nice. And they all have individual unique stats. All right, so the next thing we need to do and this part is like super important. I don't know why we've got description on armor. We wouldn't have description on armor. I actually need to get rid of that, because the description would come from the armor set that it belongs to. Yeah, so on this has set name, it has description, and we probably store an icon in here as well, right? We probably have like an image. That's going to be fucking fun though. Now there's all kinds of tools here, right? I created a tool that will literally ask ChatGPT to come up with like a fun, interesting name of these things, so we can run through that, because there are literally hundreds of variations here. And so we can actually just pump all of those out to GPT, and GPT will actually will actually receive the response back from GPT and actually store it on the gear itself. So I don't have to sit there and name hundreds and hundreds of gear piece items. Now, sure, it might name some of them crap, or it might duplicate some, or some of them might be a bit... but that's the thing, it gives me a place to start from, right? If I have hundreds of pre-named items, as I'm testing and building, and I see one that I don't like, I could just change it, right? It's better, like, if I was to sit there and name all hundreds, and this is where I think AI is really cool. It's like if you're making a cooking system, right, and you have 300 ingredients, you've got a lettuce and a cabbage and a turnip and an onion, and you want to write something funny about each of those. It's like, AI is perfect for that. If I was to sit there for hours on end trying to think of something funny to say about an onion and the cabbage and a turnip, that's hours and hours of work. And it's like, yeah, it could be, these things are nice for the player because it gives the game like a bit of personality. It gives the game a soul, right? But at the end of the day, that's something an AI could just spit out in like fucking seconds, whereas it would take you hours and hours and hours. And a lot of it's going to be good, right? It's going to come up with some really good stuff. And again, if you're in your cooking system and you see that it described the lettuce incorrectly, or you don't like its description, you can always go in and change it. But it gives you a place to start from, right? So yeah, I can understand how some people, like, if Hoyo was doing that with their games, then I'd be like, you know, outraged, because if you're charging what you're charging in your game and you can't even pay people to sit there and give it a personality, and you're relying on fucking GPT instead, then I think that's a bit of a scam. But I'm a single guy fucking making games, you know. I'm not charging money. It's like, I'm not scamming people. So I think it's a nice shortcut for someone like me. And it gives the game quite a bit of soul. And then I still have the freedom to like go in and change whatever I want. But yeah, we could even go further, right? Because you could send... I don't think it would be very good at this, but maybe there's a model out there that would be good at that. I don't know, because it's always getting better, right? If there's like an image model for Stable Diffusion out there somewhere that's like good at generating like very generic looking icons or art or something for a game, fucking yeah, I'll send like 100 fucking requests out to that thing and say, okay, draw me a fucking shield, draw me a this, draw me a that, and just save those as the icons. And again, if you don't like one of them, you can always go in and change it. But it's just something for the player to look at, right? So it's not just reading words or whatever. And visuals and icons and things really do give games a lot more personality, a lot more soul. So the next thing I need to do is I need to save these objects that are being generated onto the server. So when gear drops, we can't just drop it in memory like we are right now, because as soon as they quit the game and then come back, it's all gone. So we need to store it somewhere. So the ideal place to store data in a game like this is on the server. Now this in itself can be a bit of a pain in the arse, because now we're generating unique gear for the player. We need to make sure all those values are retained and can be reloaded back into the game when the player comes back. Okay, I might start with Gibbity because Gibbity's been doing a good job so far. Like, I know how to do it, but let's just see what Gibbity says. There are maybe better ways of doing it as well. Okay, so I'm going to start by just explaining. Okay, I have created a gear drop system for my Unity RPG, which is I'm happy with. I now need a way to store generated gear onto player data using Unity Cloud Save. I'll first need to generate some kind of serial number for each piece of gear. So I can then use that as the key, and for the value I could store data as a CSV string.
Mike Sparkles.
Can you help me achieve this? Okay. Great, you're on the right track. What you're asking for is a lightweight way to uniquely identify and persist gear drops via Unity Cloud Save. Here's how you can approach this. Generate a serial number. Each gear item needs a unique ID to use as a key in Cloud Save. Options recommend use a GUID, system GUID to string. This gives you a globally unique identifier like F47AC 10B 58CC 4372. Or option B, use a combination of timestamp and RNG. Convert armor into a CSV string. So armor to CSV. And we can receive armor as A and then strip out all of the values whilst adding commas in between. Yeah, this is a good function. And save to Unity Cloud Save. Okay. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So on our core systems, Actually, I think it makes sense for it to be on player data.
Since ads are about to run on Twitch, how about I tell you a joke? What do you call a nervous javelin thrower, Shakespeare?
So I think on player data, the best way for this to work would be to have a public function which can receive. I mean, the most logical way to do this, let me think about this. I think we want a public function save armor which takes an input of armor type. I don't think we need to store set ID. Oh. Okay, I see what it's saying. Okay, yeah, this is a good point. Okay, so let's take a look at what it's saying here. So what it's basically saying here is we need somewhere to store the armor set as an integer. And we can just count our sets, right? Because our sets are like set in stone anyway. So these are all our sets, right? So if we basically just say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, right? So I think the best place to put that is on the core system. And we're going to generate a list of armor sets. Because then we can use an index of function. Okay. So I'm going to declare a transform of sets root. I'm going to hide in the inspector a public list of armor sets, and I'm just going to iterate through the children. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say armor sets add child get component armor set, and now we have all the armor sets. For now, let me just unhide that in the inspector because I want to make sure that's working first. Okay, so let me just comment that out so that we get rid of the errors. We're just going to run that. I want to make sure all our armor sets populate correctly. I'm going to hide auth for now, we don't need that. Oh, my set root is not defined. Okay. Okay, so we have 60 armor sets that have all been populated. So now what we can do is we can make a function on system that will return a set's index. So we need a function which is an integer function which is going to say get set index, and we're going to take an armor set and we're basically going to say return. See, I already knew what I was going for. I love that. Autocomplete, I already figured out what I was going to go for there. Yep, return armor sets index of set, right? So we're literally just saying, okay, give us the number that the armor set on a specific piece of armor belongs to in this list. That way we've basically, what we've essentially done is we've just kind of counted these. So if we have the breaker crit set wherever that exists in the list, we can then go and find that and get it back for when we load it back in. So back in our save function, under play data, do we have system? No, we always need system. So I'm going to declare a system manager. I'm gonna need save armor and load armor and all this lot. So what I'll do is I'll just do a void awake, and we'll do that there, so that other functions can have access to it. Okay, and then we don't have a set ID on an armor set, nor do we need one. Instead, our first integer we can get from system controller now. So we can actually just say system controller get set index, and we can pass the armor, which is a armor set, to that function. There we go. That will give us a number back for said set index. Okay. Where are we storing the string? There we go. Okay, so the next stage, I'm just going to make sure that that looks good. Now we still don't have a key to store. We still don't have a key to store the armor record against yet. So we need some kind of serialization system or something. But for now, let's make sure the data struct looks good. So we're going to debug.log back the set val string when we call that function. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into my gear drop system, which is going to need a reference to player data. Now we can access player data through system controller. So we can go gear drop. So for each return W drops pick weapon, we can also say, oh, that's weapon. Let's do for armor. So we can say system controller, I thought, P data, save armor, get armor. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that clean? I like that. It's really clean. Alright, let's make sure we get decent looking results. Give it a run. Let's drop some gear. Boop. And there's our data coming out. So this may look like a bunch of fucking gobbledygook, because it kind of is. Let me just inspect that properly. It's got a notepad, so we can look at it properly. But yeah, if we look at it closely, they all start with 32, because if we check the index of armor sets and we look at number 32, it should be the healer HP set. Yeah, it is. So we know that every single piece of gear is the HP healer set, because we can just look up index 32. So that's working beautifully. So the first one is fine, and then 2 I'm guessing is rarity. Well, it can't be rarity. Oh, it's probably the body. Yeah, it must be the body slot. Arms. Yeah, arms would be 2. So the next one is the body thing. Then it's rarity. So they're all 3 stars. Yep, they're all 3 stars. And then we start recording the details after that. So after 3, we've got attack, which is 21. 23 on the first one. Yep. Then 22, which is defense. So there you go. So we have a structure of data now, which records the gear set, the body part, all the data that we have, right? It's all the data's there, and we can just store that string against a key now. So the key needs to be some kind of unique key. Now we could just use numbers and just count up and up and up and up. The problem I can see arising from this is, in a game like an RPG, you are constantly deleting armor, right? You're recycling it, you're using it as fodder, you're discarding it, right? There's lots and lots of... You would expect in an RPG for like thousands of pieces of gear to drop, and the player to maybe hold on to a couple of dozen. So we have to bear that in mind with our system. So sequentially, see, if I was storing this locally, I would definitely do that. But the reason why is you can very easily store a key that says gear ID, not even a key. You can just store an int that says like last ID used for gear, right? So if we had 14 pieces dropped, then the last ID used would have been 13. Then you could just add 1 to that number and then go 14, 15, 16 and so on, right? The problem is we need to store that number somewhere. Now we could store the number as a key. like next ID or something like that. That might be the best way to do it, actually. And then we just keep incrementing one and one and one and one and one and one. The other problem with that is everything's a fucking pain in the ass. If the key doesn't exist, it's because the player hasn't received any armor yet. But here's the thing, right? You have like an initialization period kind of thing. Like, so basically, our system is responsible for dropping and generating armor based on RNG and based on rules and all this other stuff, which is great. But the player has to get their first piece of gear from somewhere, right? So typically what we would need to do, even if the player only starts, like think about Genshin Impact, right? When you start a new game of Genshin Impact, you start off with a dull sword. Because you need something, right? They have to give you something. I don't even know. That's got me wondering, actually. Can you even... Does Genshin Impact even let you equip no weapon at all? I don't think it does. I don't think the system was designed to do that. I think Lumine starts with a dull sword already equipped, because I don't think the system allows you to unequip a weapon. You can swap a weapon, but they needed to give you a weapon to begin with to swap to your first weapon. Right? So you start with like a pre-made weapon by the system, and that weapon still needs to be saved into the system. Or we could store it as a game object. Now armor is different though. You could... An armor system really should let you go in with no armor if you want to. Because it's broken into 4 slots, and each slot... You know, it's like an independent inventory container. So I don't know that we do need to start the player off with any armor necessarily, but they will have to start off with a weapon. Okay. So we might not have any armor. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Because you do start with a dull blade in Genshin Impact, because you do need a weapon. And my game's probably going to be similar, right? You need to fucking hit the enemy with something. So even if you only start with one character, when you first start the game, you're going to have to start with some kind of weapon, right? So if our main character is going to be an attacker, which I think she is... Can't remember, actually. I think she is. If our main character is going to be an attacker, we're going to need to give her a very basic attacker weapon. And that's going to need to be saved initially when a new player starts a new game. So essentially when a new player starts a new game, there will be a process where we create initial data for the player. Because there are some things that you're always going to need in the game that you can't have none of, right? Like, you can't start at level 0, you have to start at level 1. Well, you could start at level 0. Like, do you know what I mean? You still need to store the player's level and XP and health and whatever else, right? So, like, you need to create an initial starting data set for the player, essentially. But yeah, when it comes to the armor system, actually, I don't think we do need to create initial armor for the player. We could, but I don't think we need to. And also, like, everything ties into everything else, right? So, like, typically a game wouldn't start off with. So here's what I'm thinking so far. I'm thinking the player doesn't start with any armor, because that gives me the opportunity as the developer to let them go and do some of their tutorial fights where I teach them the basics. Here's how you attack, here's how you do your skill, here's how you do your ult. Yay, well done, you beat the intro slimes. Yay. Okay, here's some gems.
On YouTube, Pika Beta says, "Hi Cappy."
Hello, Pika. So you're going to slowly introduce the systems and unfold each system one at a time at the start of the game, right? So just off the top of my head, I would imagine it's going to be something like kill the tutorial slimes and introduce the basic mechanics to the player. Then introduce things like gacha currency and give them their first set of gacha currency. We might not even let them do their first pull yet, but it depends what we want for the second fight, right? I suppose what it really comes down to is there anything else? Is there anything else we need to teach the player as they're a single one-man team? Because if you think about it, you need to go through all of your systems, right? So you need to think about...
Most games don't have the player start off with armor anyway.
Yeah, there's a reason as well, which is what I'm going into now. So we have game start, we have battle mechanics, solo player character, right? So we can introduce them to battle mechanics, we can give them their first set of rewards, and then you need to start introducing these rewards, right? Explain rewards. But I think a lot of tutorials get this wrong as well, is they tend to overwhelm the player with a lot of information at the very, very start, which I think is frustrating. I think for noobs it just overwhelms them, and for veteran players it just frustrates them, because they already know how to play the game. You know, I've played 600 RPGs before, I know how all this works. Get out my face and let me play the fucking game. So how do you avoid that but still give the player enough information so that they don't get stuck or lost? And it's a tricky, it's really an unsolved problem. Now Genshin has a somewhat unique way. I wouldn't say unique, but Genshin isn't quite as on rails and linear as you might think. And they have got a rather, it is quite a smart, it's just very irritating. It is
Pika
quite a
says,
smart
the
system
only way
that
the
they've
player
built.
starts off with armor is when they use a cheat code like in GTA Vice City Stories and so forth.
So what Genshin does is, you'll notice if you've ever started a new Genshin game as many times as I have, you'll notice that the way their system works is not quite as on rails as it first appears. What they seem to have done is, for all of their core systems, so for map and teleport, for weapons, for artifacts, for chests, for consumables, for all of these systems here, the way Genshin works is they store like something, they probably store something like this, right? Where, or it might be a bool, where these values here represent whether the player has been introduced to said mechanic, right?
At the start of Genshin, they block you from leaving the Wind Nation.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm not anywhere near that far into this. Right now I'm talking about the flow of the start of the game, right? So what Genshin does is it waits for you to come across your first teleporter, and then it detects that, okay, this is your first teleporter, right? You've not, let's say this, well, the better way to put this is, imagine that these true or falses tell the system whether a tutorial has been triggered. And what it does is, whenever you engage with one of these systems, it checks to see whether you've had the teleport tutorial, and if that's set to false, it will show you the teleport tutorial. When that's set to false, it will show you the here's how to equip weapons tutorial. When that's set to false, it will show you how to equip artifacts tutorial. Now there are pros and cons to this. The pros are that because player behavior is somewhat unpredictable, and Genshin does actually give you quite a large degree of freedom. I know you're saying, oh, you can't leave the window. Yeah, but you can do pretty much anything else. Like, the game doesn't really get that, like, it's not really that on rails. Like, a lot of games, like Square Enix games, would actually, if you tried to go off and explore the world when you first land on that beach, they would like be like, no, you need to go and see this. Like, they would very much guide you back to the start, because their onboarding system needs you to do things in a certain order, in a certain way. So it's going to take the game a little while before it gives you that degree of freedom. Genshin said, fuck that, we're going to let the player do whatever they want. And what we'll
If I remember correctly, Genshin doesn't let you explore until you get the first teleporter.
It does. You're wrong. Because I've done it. Nope, you can do whatever you want right from the start. As soon as you can control Lumine, you can do whatever you want. And the way they're able to do that is by having a system like this that records whether the player's been onboarded for a particular system or not. So if you run off and you start killing chickens and you just start doing whatever you want, the system will watch, and when every time it's a first time, like, you've probably seen that item hint thing that pops up. The first time you get a new item in the game, it will give you like a little pop-up that kind of briefly explains what the item does on the side of the screen. That's a really good system, by the way. I really like that one because it's not evasive. The problem I have with Hoyoverse tutorials is how evasive they are. So they stop the whole flow of the fucking game, and you've got to read and go to page 2 and go to page 3 and close it, and then you take 3 more steps forward and then something else pops up, and then you got to go to page 2 and you got to go to page 3, and it's very invasive, basically. So the advantage of having a more on rails linear tutorial is that you can control, you can somewhat limit how invasive the tutorial is, because you don't necessarily bombard the player with 50 tutorials all at once. But in Genshin's case, if the player's really kind of, you know, confident, let's say, then they can find themselves kind of buried in tutorials for like the first few times they do anything, right? And it can be kind of frustrating, I think. So there are pros and cons to each approach. So I'm just trying to think about, well, do I want to use a system like Genshin's? Because I do think it's fundamentally flawed. But it does have its advantages, right? And that you can allow the player to have some degree of freedom to some extent.
Yeah, like in Madoka when they bombed you with a tutorial every 5 seconds.
You keep talking about that. I don't even remember it. I probably just skipped it. But yeah, that can be annoying in games. If I use that. Yeah, I don't really know how I'm going to go about dealing with that, to be honest.
Today in TOF I'm now player level 96 and joined one crew that said solo leveling.
What, level 96 and joined a crew that said solo leveling? As long as you're having fun.
I think it was called Lone Swords.
I think I've seen that one. I don't know, it might even be mine. I have no idea. I don't even know what mine's called. Is that the one I'm in? Is that what you... Are you trying to be cheeky again? I really don't know. I was the head of that guild at one point, whichever one I'm in. But then I didn't log in for ages and they evicted me. Well, they didn't evict me, but they... Oh, actually, I don't know. That might have been a different one. Because I think that one eventually did evict me. But I was the leader of it at one point. Yeah, when everybody went over to that other guild, they made me the leader for some strange reason. And I was the leader for ages, even though I rarely played. And then eventually they ousted me as the leader, but I was still in it. And then recently-ish, actually, they fucking evicted me for whatever reason, because I hadn't logged in ages. So then I joined. I think the one I joined now, I've actually joined more recently. I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention to it. It doesn't really bother me. As long as you get the rewards out of it, that's all that matters.
Mr. Cappy was rank 13 on the crew list.
Was I? $13 out of 13.
Out of 77 members.
Well, that's not too bad. Okay, so ID is going to be in. It wants to be a string though, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to save a record against GE dashboard. Am I really not signed in?
I looked, a lot of the crew members haven't logged into TOF for around or over 30 days.
Yeah, it's a pretty chill guild, that's what you want. Because it shows that they're not kicking people out for not logging in, which is a good thing. So player management. Okay, let's give that a run. So what that should do is save our generated armor. Okay, who are we signed in as right now? So we're signed in as DUXDMU. DUXDMU. A lot of these records can be deleted. Hang on, I think I saw it. There it is. That's me. I mean, they're all me. Cloud save. Player data. There's currently no player data, no default data. Oh, I didn't run the gear drop, that's why. There we go. So now if we hit refresh, there we go. We got our test piece of data. Okay, so I guess a key could be an armor and then an identifier.
If you were wondering, I currently got 3 games on my phone outside of Pokemon Go, and there are Woowa, TOF, and Genshin.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do okay,
Recently I've been focusing on the main event for Genshin's latest update since it's only got just over a week left before it goes away, and today I got Genshin's version of Miku 2.
Okay, so on player data, what we're going to need to do is store these integers as IDs. So we're going to need a next A for next armor index. We're going to need a next W for next weapon index, for example. Alright, let's see what we get. Okay. Your approach is sound and the structure is clean and future-proof. To fully solidify this system, using next A as the sequential index tracker for armor, you just need to save the next A key back to cloud save after each use. After you generate a armor index, increment next A and store the value of next A in cloud save under the key next A. This ensures persistence across sessions and devices. During player data load, check if next A exists on the server. If not, initialize it to 0 and store it. Otherwise, load and assign the value. Beautiful. Okay, so we have an updated next. Updated save armor, I think it gave me, didn't it? Just close that a second.
Pika asks, how's your project been going today so far, Cappy?
Yeah, fine. Don't actually need tasks. There's so much to do in these games. Games are so fucking complicated. Right, so we've got an armor index identifier now, which we save as a value key pair. Update locally after save. Okay, we'll try that. It doesn't look like it's contains enough stuff. Let's test it. So it should have generated 20 pieces of gear. It should now sit on the server. Yeah, they all went under. Next A did update to 1. Did I only save 1? Oh yeah, we do get a...
Yeah, there's a lot to do in these gachas or games these days, especially when you play more casually, of course, to the point where you can't finish events on time across 3 different gachas at once.
Mike Sparkles.
Required property data not found in JSON path. I wonder if... Okay, I think I know what's happening. Yeah, so what I think is happening is... Yeah, I'm only getting the final gear piece stored on the server, and I think I know what might be happening. Because several gear drops at once, the first drop gear hasn't had time to update the server's next ID before the next piece reads it again. I guess
Since ads are about to run on Twitch, how about I tell you a joke? Just watched a documentary about beavers. It was the best damn program I've ever seen. One fact: every time I log into TOF I get lots of achievements unlocking at once and pop-ups coming up on the screen with constant red dots on the screen for the first 5 minutes after logging into the game.
Every time I log into TOF you get a lot of... Oh yeah, they're really annoying. I wish there was a claim all button for those. Are you doing your map? your idle exploration thing. That creates a lot of pop-ups. Right, so we can load this next value once per player login. Yeah, I think this would be good. And then if I set the next is to -1. Why do you want to use a task? Is it threading?
I tried out this new feature where you can put characters and tabs on the map screen, and I currently got all 12 of them running.
I've set the initial values for my next series to -1. That way I can quickly tell whether they've been initialized or not. So if I do a void check next init, I can say if next a is -1, then load player data. I don't think it should be called load player because we're not actually loading player data yet. That's not what we're doing. I'll call it init next. Init next. Because this call is not awaited. Okay, I can await init next. Well, can't that just be an async void? Wouldn't that be better? And I can just make that an async void. Fucking hate this shit. So how the fuck do I await a task then? Okay. I've set the initial values for my next X series to -1, that way I can quickly tell whether they've been initialized or not. How do I await an async task though? Great call setting your next X values to -1 as a sentinel. That's a clean way to check initialization status. To await an async method, you need to do one of the following. So it could be an async task. Check next init. Stop capitalizing my small letters. So now I've got to fucking await this. Everything
In
needs to be
TOF I
awaited.
can't get off
Jesus
Bygone
fucking
floor
Christ.
430 anymore, and I just run out of time even with level 190 weapons, level 95 matrices, and with my older characters.
B key to W key. Where the fuck is Val coming from? Because so we do a val. W val. W. Okay. I may as well initialize both armor and weapon keys at the same time. Okay. Let's test that. So it should set me up as a new player now. And when we drop the gear, we should get... Wait, I still got an error. Why am I getting that error? What the fuck? JSON serialization exception. Required property data not found in JSON path. Yeah, we're still only getting the first drop. Okay. Yikes, I'm still only getting the first drop on the server. But I notice an error. Thanks for the detailed error trace. This actually tells us quite a lot. The core problem, you're seeing JSON serialization exception, required property data not found in JSON. This means that cloud save API call failed due to a 409 conflict. It usually happens if you try to write a key that already exists or is being written simultaneously, and the client-side deserialization of the response failed because it expected a data property in return JSON that wasn't there due to the error response. What's actually going wrong? Yeah! Right, my food's ready, I gotta go. You correctly suspected several gear drops at once. The first drop gear hasn't had time to update the server's next ID before the next piece reads it again. You're assigning the same next ID multiple times because all drops see the same next day before any one of them updates it, leading to duplicate keys. I thought we were local indexing. Alright, I need to go get some food. I'll be back in a bit. Bye.